Live Awakening to Love. I'm your host, Tomás Garza, and I really appreciate all of you joining me here today, whether you're catching this live right now or on the replay. It's really a lot of fun to have the interaction with all of you in the form of questions and answers. And I really appreciate all of you who have popped on the live stream in the last couple of days and asked questions. So I want to invite you to do just that here. We're going through the workbook for students today. Today we'll pick up with where we left off on Sunday, and that's lesson 86 in the workbook. And if you have specific comments about spirituality, about A Course in Miracles, or about anything that we talk about here on the live stream, I would love, absolutely love to hear from you. So thank you for all of your hearts, all of the likes, comments, and the shares. Very, very, very wonderful. I really appreciate that. We're aiming to get this programming of Enlightened World Network out to as many people as we possibly can. So I do appreciate the shares, recommendations, have people check out the Facebook page, give it a like. There's some tremendous programming here on the network. And our aim, each and every one of us, is here to shed light, to bring the light to the whole world. So yeah, nothing more, nothing less. All right, so I want to just summarize really quickly. Yesterday, on Monday, we looked at a fundamental spiritual principle in general, known as getting out of our own way. And what that means is, well, we spend so much of our time anywhere but the present moment, right? Anywhere but right now. We worry about tomorrow. We concern ourselves with yesterday, right? Past, future, neither one truly exists. And we waste the present moment literally off somewhere else completely. And what we're giving up when we do that is our ability to create. It's our ability in the present moment to be aware of whether we're deciding for love or fear and to take appropriate action. Now is the only time that we can do that. It's the only time that truly exists. So this is quite literally where the action is. And we pretend. We pretend for many reasons. We pretend that it's otherwise. We spend time in the past, spend time in the future. Getting out of our way is coming back to the present moment. If you think about it, when we're fretting over something that may never happen, well, we're in our way. If we fret over something that happened years ago, it's gone, and it may have consequences right now, but it doesn't do us any good to dwell on it. And that's how people become really, really seriously depressed. It's something that, we can all take a look at. Something we can all take a look at. And spiritual practice actually forces us to do that. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, you get to take a look at all of your stuff. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, not to the ego, it's not, of course. So if that seems like it's not super easy, well, I can relate to that. I can relate to that because the ego doesn't want to be wrong. I mean, think about it. It's all about being right. It's all about seeming to be powerful, and it's chasing after the next shiny object. One shiny object after another in a parade. That's what the ego loves. It's confused. It's confused. A Course in Miracles says throughout that the dictate of the ego is seek but do not find. How about that? And yes, this does mean that we've spent lifetime after lifetime seeking but not finding. Leads us right into today's lesson. Lesson 86 in the workbook reviews lessons 71 and 72. So for the next few days here, we're going through and we're taking a look at 2 lessons a day that we've covered here in the workbook, here in the live. So, lesson 71, only God's plan for salvation will work. We waste our time looking for it elsewhere. Now, I have nothing against new cars or new shiny objects, new clothing, that sort of thing, right? A physically fit bod, that sort of thing. I don't have anything against that, but that's not where salvation lies. Cindy and I went out on Saturday, bought a brand new car. I mean, we literally have a brand new car right here in the driveway, which neither of us has had for years, but it's not salvation. I mean, it's not salvation. We have to put gas in it and make payments on it. Got to pay for the insurance. I mean, how's that salvation, right? Yeah, it's nice to have, and we needed it. Same with clothing, same with food, same with loving relationships. It's not where our salvation is. And when you think about it, we spend so much time in these human lifetimes chasing after that next shiny object. We acquire one thing, enjoy it, legitimately enjoy it, possibly, right? For a while, then we get sick of it. We want to discard it. We give it away, or we throw it away, depending. We look for our ultimate happiness. And by the way, that's what I'm talking about. That's what the Course is talking about when it talks about salvation. It's not something that comes when we die. It's not that. It's not that. No, that's what I was told in Sunday school when I was growing up as a kid in a fundamentalist Baptist church. Yeah, I was fed the line that this is something that you get when you die. And no, it's accessible right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. And for some of you, that may be a very, very powerful statement. And I hope that it is. Because when I took that to heart in my own life, it was very powerful. It was deeply, deeply empowering. We have that power at our fingertips, ready for the choosing right now. And only God's plan for happiness will work, for salvation. Salvation is an experience of who we really are. So think of it as happiness. You can think of it as joy, but not happiness that's fleeting, like having a new car or a new shirt or something and getting sick of it. That's not the kind of happiness that we're looking for here. It's constant. That's what we're going for. And that is truly who we are. That's who we are. So our own plans, our own elaborate schemes won't work. Our own business schemes won't work. If we have an elaborate plan to make a certain amount of money, that's really wonderful. And that money will no doubt help us. And ideally, we would use that to bless other people as well and to help and to reach out. But it's not salvation. Salvation's all internal. It can't be found in external objects. And if that sounds obvious, well, actually it is. But we need to hear things. And this is something that we talked about on the live yesterday that I really appreciated all the comments on here. I really do. We have to hear things again and again and again and again and again. In dictating the Course in Miracles, Jesus actually says this in several different places, that he's saying the same thing over and over and over and over in many different ways, because it takes us that repetition to get it, doesn't it? I mean, are you stubborn? I mean, you can say yes to that. We all as adult learners need to hear things in several different ways. Why? The 27th time we hear the same thing might be the exact time that we really get it. That might be the exact delivery, the exact phraseology that we need to put that into full effect in our lives. Put it into full effect and extend love. Because that's what it's all about. All right, so that's lesson 71. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Yeah, so enjoy the new car. We're going to enjoy the new car, enjoy the new clothing. If you are losing weight, enjoy that, right? If you have a hot new love relationship, right? Enjoy that. Yeah, definitely. But let's seek salvation inside. Well, that's where it is. Okay. Lesson 72 is another big one, and that's holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Why? What does that mean? Okay, holding a grievance is fairly self-explanatory. You can think of it as holding a grudge or holding an attitude, an unloving attitude about someone or something or a group of people. It could be an entire government. It could be an entire political party. For example, I love to use these big examples because they're very in our face in today's world, aren't they? It doesn't matter what part of the world you live in. I happen to be in the United States. Everything that happens in our political environment is automatically world news for a lot of reasons. So why not use that as an example? And whatever side of that spectrum someone comes down on, it's an example of holding grievances, isn't it? Right? We hold grievances against people. We hold a grudge against people. We harbor unloving thoughts against them. That is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Why? God's plan for salvation calls for the extension of love. In A Course in Miracles, in the study and practice of A Course in Miracles, that takes the form of forgiveness, which, as you have seen, has a different meaning in this curriculum than it does in common parlance, for sure. To sum it up, every action that we take is either an extension of love, an expression of love, or it's a call for love. I mean, if you want to think of that as a cry for help, good, because it actually is. Think of that as a cry for help. So, seen in that way, no one is transgressing anyone else. We're not wronging someone. Why? There's no ego to be wronged, ultimately. Ultimately, we are, in fact, one, all of us. There is no ego to be wronged. So when someone lashes out, when someone acts or speaks unlovingly, they're simply making a mistake. This is the power of forgiveness in A Course in Miracles, is that person is making a mistake. They're not transgressing you. Why? Because we're all one. They're mistakenly seeing themselves and you as separate. You know, they may be doing that to us. The next minute, we may be doing that to them and thinking all kinds of terrible thoughts, possibly even lashing out at them. So whether we say anything to them or write anything on Twitter to them or not doesn't make any difference. If we're thinking the thought, it's the same thing. It's just a mistake. Forgiveness overlooks that mistake and recognizes in the other person a call for love. So what then is the appropriate response? The loving response is to extend love. Now, does that mean we condone their behavior? No, absolutely not, because people behave in very untenable fashion in the world. So healthy boundaries, yes, please. If you know how to set healthy boundaries, please continue to do that. And if you do not know, then I hope that you may discover how to do that. That is, in fact, beyond the scope of a 30-minute live stream. However, it's very important. when I've taught A Course in Miracles before in study groups or in a workshop fashion, this is always one of the questions that comes up, and it's a great question because we're learning a different way of forgiving here. In studying A Course in Miracles, we're literally challenging everything that we now believe, which is great. It's great, and I recommend that you do it. But because it's new to a lot of us, then this is a good question. If I forgive this person, does this mean I support their behavior? Well, no, it does not. It does not. And people that act egregiously can still be forgiven on a deep level. But the beauty of A Course in Miracles is that if you're not able, if you find yourself not able to do that today, you don't have to. Okay. Yeah, this is a process, and it's one of the ways that people trip themselves up in the workbook, especially in the workbook, because it gives us a progression of daily ideas, 1 through 365. So people can numerically take a look if they skip a couple of days and think, oh my God, I'm behind, time to stop now. Right. Or, yeah, I didn't do all of the practice sessions as recommended in the workbook, so time to stop now. It brings up all of these limiting beliefs, which in fact is a beautiful thing. Why do I say that? Because anytime something troubles you, it's something that's coming up for release. That's what it is. It's coming up for release. And what is one of the prominent ways to do that? Forgiveness. As it's practiced in A Course in Miracles, it's vastly different. So when we hold grievances, we withhold forgiveness. It's a withholding of love. Now, we can still extend love and forgive, even if outwardly we keep all of our healthy boundaries intact. I used to do that with my mother, my alcoholic mother, who plagued me, quite honestly, my entire life into my 40s, and really pretty much up until about a year and a half before she passed. And that was in 2016, by the way. So what I finally did is forgave, deep level forgiveness, which would not have been possible without A Course in Miracles, yet kept all of my healthy boundaries, such as you will not do this, you will not do that. It's a list of rules, right? Liberating, absolutely liberating. I got to free myself and maintain the healthy boundaries in the world. It's completely and totally doable. So if that's something that you struggle with, I do hope that you will reach out and seek the help that you need to be able to do that, because it's liberating and you deserve to have that intact. Forgiveness doesn't mean we let people trample all over us. Oh, not at all. Anything but that, in fact. Yeah. It's a very loving act. So when we hold grievances, when we withhold love and forgiveness from people, it's an attack on God's plan for salvation. Why? Why an attack? Does that sound harsh? Yeah, maybe it does. But we're either choosing love or we're choosing fear. We're choosing God or we're choosing the ego. Happiness, sorrow. That is the choice that we make moment to moment. It may take many different forms, but they're all forms of that one choice. So A Course in Miracles presents things very, very simply, doesn't it? It's because spirituality, in fact, is really simple. It comes down to that choice right now in the present moment of love or fear. Okay. So let me bring up the live stream here on the page, and thank you all for joining me today. It's really so much fun to be able to interact with you here live on the stream. And let me just bring this guy up. Hope, hello, good afternoon. How are you? And John, hi. Thank you for tuning in again here today. And yeah, Yeah, God being love is beautiful, right? Love is beautiful and bright. Yeah. Think of how you brighten your own day and someone else's day by your extension of forgiveness. It's really quite a beautiful thing. When we smile at somebody, it's a beautiful thing. And it leads us to see the world differently. If we walk down the street, two people could be walking down the same street, passing a beautiful park with trees and green fields and birds singing. And imagine it's super sunny like it is right outside my window in Phoenix, Arizona. And it usually is super sunny. So, two people could be walking down the same street, headed to the same park, and one person has an attitude of love and happiness and forgiveness. The other person is thinking to themselves what an idiot their partner is, what idiots this political party is, how so and so's at it again on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, insert names, whoever that is for you. And someone could be stewing in their mind and they won't see that same street. They won't see the same sunlight. They won't see the same park. It'll look the same, but they're having a completely different experience of it. Now, one person might see the grass and feel a lot of love and gratitude, and another person may step in a pile of dog excrement, yeah, that kind of works its way into your shoe. Say you're wearing tennis shoes or sandals with a lot of tread. Yeah, that kind, right? And if you're harboring attack thoughts, thoughts of fear, you don't experience the world the same way. If you harbor thoughts of love and choose thoughts of love, then you experience the world quite differently and you see all of the beauty. Yeah, all of the beauty. You see it and you feel it. That's the important thing, isn't it? You feel it, you experience it. It's wonderful and a beautiful thing. And you choose that in the present moment. All right. So if you're catching me on the replay here, thank you for tuning in today. We're continuing on in the workbook. We're in a series of review periods. So it'll be lesson 87 tomorrow, and we'll be reviewing a couple of heavy hitting and beautiful ideas. So yeah, I said that, heavy hitting and beautiful all at once, because these are simplistic and they're designed to completely get us out of our own way. But we have to choose that moment to moment. So thank you all for making the choice to tune in here today and catch the replay. I'll see you back here tomorrow.